It was supposed to stay buried forever, a set of deleted scenes, interviews, and off-camera moments that the documentary team never intended for the public to see. But tonight, those hidden clips have leaked, and they contain the most damning revelation yet. Diddy's own mother knew everything. Not just rumors, not just whispers, not just allegations floating around the industry. She knew the dangers. She knew the patterns, she knew the victims, she knew the cover-ups. She knew the truth hiding behind the mansions, the studio gates, the private jets, the family man facade, and she still protected him. The deleted scenes paint a horrifying picture, not of a mother in denial, but a mother actively helping build a wall around her son, shielding him from consequences, helping him maintain a legacy built on secrets, silence, and fear. And now that the footage is out, the internet is in total meltdown mode. Because for the first time, people are seeing the look in her eyes, the hesitation in her voice, the way she responds when asked certain questions, and it's chilling. One investigator in the leaked footage even said, "Every time we got close to a breakthrough, someone connected to his mother shut it down." Fans are stunned, bloggers are screaming, TikTok detectives are analyzing frame by frame. Because the truth hidden in this footage isn't just about Diddy, it's about the person who raised him, the person who protected him, and the person who allegedly helped cover tracks long before the world even knew what to look for. This isn't speculation anymore. This isn't rumor. This is documented, recorded, archived evidence that was never supposed to see daylight, and it changes everything. To understand the explosive power of these deleted scenes, to understand why the internet is shaking, why Hollywood insiders are panicking, and why this leak is already being called the most dangerous part of the documentary, you have to go back to the beginning. Back to the origin of Diddy's empire. Back to the person who shaped him into the man he became, his mother. For decades, Diddy's mom has been portrayed as the soft, supportive, protective backbone of his story, the grieving young mother who raised him after tragedy, the sweet mama figure he honored publicly, the emotional center of his rags-to-riches narrative. But behind the scenes, behind the interviews, the red carpet smiles, the carefully polished public appearances, a very different picture exists. A picture the documentary team uncovered, but originally chose not to air. A picture the deleted footage reveals with stunning clarity. Because throughout Diddy's rise, through the 90s, the early 2000s, the scandals, the rumors, the lawsuits, the incidents inside clubs, hotels, studios, everything, one thing remained constant. His mother always knew first. Whenever something shady happened, SHE was the first call. Whenever a witness needed to cool off, she was involved. Whenever the tabloids started sniffing around, she was part of the response. Whenever Diddy spiraled or panicked, SHE controlled the messaging. That's not speculation, that's what the leaked footage shows. One documentary producer, off camera, unaware the mic was still hot, said she wasn't just his mom. She was his firewall, a word used in tech, but even more chilling when used to describe a human being protecting someone from consequences. But the deleted scenes go deeper. In one sit-down interview filmed months ago, the lead investigative journalist revealed that every time the team attempted to ask questions about Diddy's early days, particularly the period where his behavior first became concerning, the same pattern emerged. Phone calls, lawyers, sudden rescheduling, pressure from family representatives, and in two separate cases, a direct message from Diddy's mother's assistant asking the team to avoid certain sensitive topics. Topics directly tied to allegations that date back decades, long before the fame, long before the empire, long before the headlines. The deleted footage shows a chilling list on the journalist's notepad. 1991 Bronx incident, early industry parties, Howard University nights, first bad boy events, unreported hotel issue 1996. Witness from studio shutdown. Each time they dug into these stories surrounding claims of aggression, intimidation, exploitation, the pattern repeated. Someone connected to Diddy's mother intervened. In one scene, a producer whispers to another, "It's not Diddy blocking us, it's her." Fans online are replaying that moment nonstop because it flips the entire narrative upside down. The documentary wasn't blocked by Diddy's team. It was navigated, controlled, and in many ways manipulated by a woman the world never suspected, his mother. But the background gets even darker. The leaked clips show conversations with former Bad Boy employees, workers from the very beginning of Diddy's career. They describe moments where they witnessed behavior that shocked them, frightened them, or made them uncomfortable. But every time something blew up, every time someone threatened to speak, every time a situation escalated, a voice of authority stepped in. Not Diddy's, not an executive's, not a lawyer's, his mother's. One former intern said, her voice trembling, "She didn't scream, she didn't threaten, she just handled things, cold, efficient, quiet, you didn't want to cross her." This aligns with a pattern uncovered by the documentary team. A series of payments made from family-related accounts, not business accounts, to individuals who never appeared again in any lawsuit, any interview, any public record. These weren't business settlements, they were family settlements. And that's where the deleted footage blows the entire situation open. A former associate, his face blurred, reveals Diddy didn't cover everything. Some things she covered for him. The room goes silent after that statement. Even the interviewer looks shaken, because that one line implies something devastating. The mother didn't just know. She participated in controlling the fallout. That's why these clips were removed, not because they weren't credible, not because they weren't relevant, but because they pointed to something the original documentary wasn't ready to expose. Diddy wasn't acting alone. He had help, powerful, quiet, consistent help from inside his own home. And the internet, now seeing this footage for the first time, is asking, how much did she know? How early did she know? And what else is still hidden? But the darkest part of this background, the part no one saw coming, is the revelation in the final few seconds of one deleted clip. The journalist leans closer to the camera and says, "She told one of our researchers, I raised him, I know his ways better than anybody." And the way she said it, it didn't sound like pride. It sounded like a warning, a warning. And now the world wants to know, what exactly was she warning them about? The documentary already had the world shaken, but these deleted scenes, these missing clips, these raw, unfiltered moments the producers supposedly cut out for legal reasons, they hold the darkest, most disturbing chapter of the entire investigation. And the core of that chapter is simple and terrifying. Diddy's mother wasn't just aware, she was actively involved. She was the silent architect behind the scenes. She was the shield, the fixer, the strategist. And the deleted footage shows it, not with rumors, not with speculation, but with actual recorded interviews that were quietly removed from the final cut. The most explosive deleted clip begins with a former security guard, a man who worked for the family long before Diddy reached superstardom. His face is blurred, his voice altered, but the emotion behind his words, undeniable. He leans forward in the chair, takes a long breath, and says, "People think they know the story. They don't. Puff didn't become who he was by accident. His mother made him that way." The interviewer looks confused. Made him what way? The guard's answer is chilling, untouchable. Those words, just 8 letters, instantly reframed everything. Because untouchable isn't just a personality trait, it's a system, an infrastructure. A deliberate grooming of someone into believing consequences don't apply to them. The guard continues. When Puff messed up as a teenager, she fixed it. When he got in fights, she fixed it. When girls' families complained, she fixed it. When the police came, she fixed it. The documentary team sits in stunned silence. He isn't emotional, he isn't angry. He's stating facts as calmly as someone reading a weather report. Then he drops the first twist, one so massive that producers reportedly fought over whether the clip should be included or deleted. There was an incident at Howard, not the one everybody knows. Another one, someone got hurt. And SHE flew in, his mother, not his lawyer, not his team, her. The interviewer leans in. What did she do? The guard hesitates. Then he says the line that detonates the entire narrative. She paid the girl's family, cash. Right there in the apartment, and Puff stood behind her like a child. She did the talking, she made the decisions. A pause, and then, that was the day I realized she raised him to believe he would never face consequences. This clip was scrubbed from the documentary. Not edited, deleted, completely removed. But now that it's leaked, fans are replaying the audio, dissecting every detail. The idea that Diddy's mother handled payouts, not executives, not lawyers, suggests a system that existed before the fame. Before the money, before the empire. A generational pattern, a blueprint for power, and that's just the beginning. The missing notebook incident, another deleted scene, shows 2 documentary investigators whispering during a break between interviews. They believe the cameras are off, but they're not. One says, "Her notes, they vanished again." The other nods. "Every time we get close to the early years, someone from the family contacts us or something goes missing." Not Puff. Her meaning Diddy's mother. The journalist continues. She was the first one to hire private investigators. She was the one cleaning up. Puff didn't learn that from managers, he learned it from home. This is the first time the team admits on camera, even accidentally, that Diddy's mother was the consistent barrier in their research. Not assistants, not gatekeepers, not publicists, his mother. And then comes the twist inside the twist. The investigators pull out a screenshot, a blurry photocopy of a page from an old legal notebook. On the top, a handwritten line. "Protect him at all costs, no matter what." Below it, a list of names, names of girls, names of witnesses, names of families. And next to several names, one word is written, handled, handled. The internet sees that word and erupts in horror. Because handled doesn't mean dismissed, it means paid, pressured, silenced, or worse. This notebook page was never supposed to be seen. The team fought internally about whether it was too dangerous to include. Executives reportedly said, if we air this, we're accusing his mother of participating. That's another level of liability. So they removed it, deleted it. Buried it until now. The off-camera confession in yet another deleted clip. A female choreographer, someone who worked closely with Diddy in the 90s, asks if the camera is off. The producer tells her, yeah, we're on break. They were wrong. The camera was still recording. She sighs, rubs her face, and mutters, his mother scared me more than he did. The producer snaps back, surprised. What do you mean? She whispers. He was unpredictable. But she was strategic. Then she shares a story that left TikTok investigators shaking. One time a girl left a party crying. Puff was drunk, things got messy, security panicked. Then his mother showed up. At 3 a.m., the producer gasps, his mother, at a private party? The choreographer nods. She walked in calm, told everyone to leave, told the girl to sit, told security to give her space. Then her voice breaks. The girl was shaking, his mother, and the leaked footage that surfaced next is the most disturbing proof so far. It begins with a former private investigator hired during Diddy's early career. He was brought in long before the fame exploded, back when Diddy was just beginning to build bad boy records. The interviewer asks a simple question, who hired you? Expecting the name of a manager, a lawyer, or even Diddy himself. Instead, he answers with a sigh, she did, his mother. The room goes silent, the producers lean in. And the investigator continues with a level of detail that feels like watching a crime unravel in real time. He explains that he wasn't hired to protect Diddy's image. He was hired to protect his patterns. He wasn't hired to monitor his safety. He was hired to monitor incidents. He wasn't hired to handle public rumors. He was hired to erase private witnesses. He lists 3 separate nights in the mid-90s where he claims Diddy's mother personally ordered him to recover items from individuals who were prepared to go public. Phones, tapes, notes, journals, even hotel logs. He describes her instructions as cold, calculated, and emotionless, not the emotional, soft-spoken mother Hollywood always portrayed. She didn't ask questions, he says. She already knew the answers. She just wanted the evidence gone. This clip alone would have been enough to collapse the internet, but the leaks get even darker. Another deleted scene shows a conversation with a woman who once worked as a housekeeper in one of Diddy's early penthouses. She seems nervous, twisting her hands, looking down, avoiding the camera. When the producer asks why she left the job, she whispers, I didn't leave, I was told to go. By who? The interviewer asks. His mother, she says, not him. Not anyone on staff, her. The producer asks what happened, and the woman hesitates. Then she reveals an incident, one the documentary never dared to include, involving a young girl who came to the penthouse crying, shaking, asking for help. The housekeeper went to call security, but before she could pick up the phone, Diddy's mother walked straight into the room as if she had been alerted instantly. The housekeeper describes her voice as calm but terrifying, a tone no one could argue with. She tells the girl to breathe. She tells the housekeeper to leave, and when the housekeeper steps out of the room, she hears the door lock from the inside. I never saw the girl again, the woman says, her voice trembling. And the next day I was told not to return. The internet replayed that clip millions of times, breaking it down frame by frame like detectives, because that's not a mother protecting an innocent son, that's a handler, a fixer. Someone deeply embedded in the machinery of her son's darkness. But the most shocking part of the escalation came from an interview with a former record executive, someone who worked with Diddy during Bad Boy's peak. This man never spoke publicly before. He refused interviews for years. But in this deleted clip, he leans in close and whispers a line that sends shivers through anyone who hears it. You think Puff built a kingdom? No. His mother built the walls around it. He goes on to describe how she showed up at the label during several internal scandals, always unannounced, always in control. When executives panicked, she didn't. When lawyers scrambled, she didn't. When people feared for their careers, she remained calm and strategic. She didn't just protect him, the executive says, she directed him. And whenever someone tried to push back, she handled it. The interviewer asks, handled how? But he doesn't answer, he just shakes his head slowly. This wasn't a mother caught off guard by her son's behavior. This was a woman who engineered the silence around him. And when the investigators attempted to dig deeper, the deleted footage shows exactly how far her influence reached. Hotel logs from the 90s mysteriously disappeared. Apartment lease records were suddenly sealed. Phone logs from early-era events vanished from AT&T archives. A studio security guard who agreed to an interview suddenly backed out, saying, I can't do this, she'll find out. This is what horrified viewers. The fear wasn't of Diddy, it was of her. Then came the twist that no one was emotionally prepared for, the footage so disturbing, so incriminating, that the documentary team didn't just remove it, they locked it. A former Bad Boy stylist sits down, tears already forming before she even speaks. She explains that in the late 90s, during an early tour, something happened backstage involving a young model. The model tried to leave the tour early. She was hysterical. She threatened to go to the press. Everyone was panicking, the stylist says, but not him, not Puff. He made one phone call, not to a lawyer, not to an executive. To her, the journalist leans forward. His mother? Yes, the stylist whispers. He said, Ma, it happened again. The room goes quiet. And she said, where is she? I'm coming. The stylist says when she arrived backstage, everything changed. The chaos stopped, security stood back, staff stopped talking, and the model, once screaming, frantic, suddenly went silent after a private conversation with Diddy's mother. She wasn't comforting her, the stylist says. She was negotiating. The clip cuts here in the leak because the rest of the footage was too sensitive. Investigators say the full conversation contains details that could trigger legal action, but the implications were enough to ignite panic across social media. The escalation becomes undeniable. Diddy didn't act alone. He didn't silence people alone. He didn't cover up incidents alone. He didn't intimidate witnesses alone. His mother was the operational core, the strategist, the fixer, the decision maker, the architect of his protection. And the final seconds of the leaked footage show an investigator saying a single sentence that has now become the most quoted line across TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. She knew everything, not after the fact, not during the scandal, but before the world even knew there was a scandal. And now, the leaks coming next are rumored to be even darker. The moment the deleted scenes leaked, the entire internet didn't just react, it erupted. What started as shock turned into outrage, then disbelief, then a deep, collective horror when people realized this wasn't just another piece of Diddy scandal content. This was a revelation that rewired the entire story. Because for the first time, viewers weren't just discussing Diddy's behavior, his parties, his allegations, or his power. They were now focused on the one person nobody ever questioned, his mother. And that shift sent every corner of the industry into meltdown. Twitter exploded instantly, not with jokes, not with memes, but with pure, unfiltered shock. His mom was covering 4HIM. Those deleted scenes are worse than the documentary itself. This is generational corruption. She's actually the mastermind. This explains everything. A viral thread broke down the timeline, pointing out how every major allegation dating back decades had one consistent pattern. His mother either intervened, advised, or orchestrated damage control before anyone else got involved. People begin calling her the real puppet master and the one who built the shield. TikTok felt like a crime lab. Creators uploaded video after video, pausing on freeze frames, analyzing body language, replaying audio, reading lips, discussing every micro-expression. Some creators even compared her demeanor to the mothers of notorious criminal figures, pointing out chilling psychological similarities. She has that quiet, calculated calm that means she's seen everything and feels nothing. Others said, this isn't a mom protecting a son, this is someone managing an empire. And then came the journalists. One cultural commentator went viral with this line: if these deleted scenes are real, the story of Diddy is no longer a story about fame and abuse. It's a story about a family structure built on control, silence, and generational intimidation. Entertainment outlets jumped in immediately. Even mainstream news organizations, who normally tread lightly around this kind of content, began reporting on the leaks. A well-known investigative reporter posted, "This could be the missing link that explains decades of silence." Interviews don't get cut without a reason. Suddenly, everyone wanted answers. Why were these scenes removed? Who decided they were too dangerous? What did the documentary team fear? Who pressured them? How long has this been going on? One producer publicly hinted, "We had a lot more we couldn't air." Fans instantly knew what that meant. Something or someone still had power. Then came the celebrities. Actors, rappers, models, and singers began reacting not with jokes, but with genuine fear. Imagine how dark the footage must be for people in Hollywood to break their silence. One R&B singer tweeted, "This is the part of the story we all saw, but none of us could talk about." Another wrote, "If you've ever been around that family, none of this is surprising." A former bad boy artist said on Instagram Live. Mama Combs wasn't no sweet grandmother type. She ran that building like a general. The comments went crazy. The industry knew. Everyone was scared of her. How deep does this go? But the biggest reaction came from someone unexpected, a well-respected hip-hop journalist who said, "Every time we tried to investigate early incidents, there was interference, and now we finally know who it came from." That statement alone sent the internet into a frenzy. Meanwhile, the documentary team stayed quiet. No statements, no confirmations, no denials. That silence terrified viewers more than a press release ever could. But the most disturbing reactions came from people who once worked for Diddy, old stylists, assistants, background dancers, housekeepers, all jumping into comment sections saying things like, I believe every word. She was always there. Nothing happened without her knowing. That woman had more control than the label executives. She didn't just protect him, she protected the pattern. And then the real panic hit when a former bodyguard posted a cryptic message. If the deleted scenes leaked, the next drop will shake the whole industry. There are tapes. Everyone knows about the tapes. Fans lost it. WHAT tapes. Is his mother on THEM? What else did she do? Who is stopping this from airing? Every social media platform was now drowning in theories, speculation, and horror. People weren't ready for this twist because it wasn't about Diddy's actions anymore. It was about the system that protected those actions for decades. And at the center of that system was a mother who, according to these deleted scenes, wasn't just aware, she was the architect. The world thought the documentary was the end of the story. But now everyone realizes the deleted scenes were just the beginning. Everything that comes next is going to be darker, deeper, and far more explosive. The final twist doesn't ease in. It hits instantly, violently, the kind of revelation that doesn't just expose a new layer of darkness, it redefines the entire story. Because up until this point, the world thought the deleted scenes simply showed a mother protecting her son, a mother covering for him, a mother managing damage. But the final leaked footage, the part the documentary team locked away, the part executives refused to touch, the part editors were reportedly told not to even store on the main server, proves something far more disturbing. She wasn't just the fixer, she wasn't just the protector, she was involved, actively, knowingly, directly. This revelation came from the most dangerous deleted clip yet, a clip so raw, so revealing, so legally explosive that one of the producers whispered, "If this goes public, the entire case changes." The footage shows a former family driver, an older man, trembling, voice cracking, finally breaking down. The interviewer gently asks him why he agreed to talk. He wipes tears, looks dead into the camera, and says, "Because I can't carry it anymore, and she was worse than him." The room goes silent. The interviewer doesn't speak. The man continues, voice shaking. Everybody's scared of Sean, but the real fear, it came from his mother. He pauses, breathing heavily, then reveals a story that flips the entire narrative inside out. One night in the late 90s, a young woman tried to flee one of Diddy's private residences. She was terrified. She begged the driver to take her to a safe place, even offered him money. The driver agreed against orders and started the car. But before he reached the gate, another car arrived. Not Diddy, not his security team, his mother. The driver says she walked straight up to the girl, looked her in the eyes, and said, "You're confused. Come inside. We will fix this." The interviewer asks quietly, "What happened to the girl?" The driver breaks down sobbing. "I never saw her again. I don't know what they told her family. I don't know where she went, but she went into that house and the door closed behind her, and that's it." The production team reportedly shut DOWN for the day after filming that clip. They didn't know what to do with it. They didn't know if they could air it. They didn't know if they were safe. But the next leak, the one that turned the internet radioactive, came from a former assistant who worked directly under Diddy's mother. Her face is blurred. Her voice is altered, but her truth, it shakes the entire documentary to its core. She says she kept a list, a handwritten list, names, dates, amounts, not Diddy's list, hers. The interviewer leans forward, stunned. The assistant continues, "She ran the payouts, she ran the threats, she ran the disappearances. Puff made the mess, but she cleaned it." Then she drops the line that sends viewers into complete panic. "She told me once. A mother protects her son even from himself. That's not protection, that's control, that's complicity, that's partnership." And then comes the most terrifying reveal the clip fans can't stop replaying, the moment that turns this story from scandal to nightmare. The investigative journalist holds up a document, a scanned page, deeply aged, edges torn, stamped with a year from the early 90s. It's a police report, a real one. It mentions an early incident involving Diddy and a young woman. But the final note on the report isn't from police. It's from someone who called the station that same night, demanding the report be withdrawn. The name of the caller, J. Combs, mother of subject. The journalist explains, this is the earliest known record tying her to a cover-up, long before fame, long before the money, long before Bad Boy. This wasn't a reaction. This wasn't a panicked mother protecting a successful son. This was a pattern that began before the world even knew his name. The final seconds of the leaked footage show the journalist looking directly into the camera, voice trembling. "We thought she was an accessory. We were wrong. She's the origin." And the clip cuts, no conclusion, no explanation, no follow-up. The biggest twist in the entire documentary doesn't give answers, it gives fear. Because if the deleted scenes are this dark, what else exists? What wasn't leaked? What is still locked away? And what happens when the next leak drops? Because insiders say it's coming and it's worse. And now we're standing at the edge of something far bigger, far darker, and far more explosive than anyone ever imagined when this documentary first dropped. What started as whispers in hallways, rumors in studios, and quiet conversations between frightened former employees has now erupted into the single most chilling revelation yet, that the one person the world thought was innocent, the one figure always painted as gentle, loving, protective, the grieving mother with the warm smile, may have been the mastermind behind decades of silence. These deleted scenes didn't just expose a secret, they shattered an illusion. They ripped open a history built on fear, control, manipulation, and generational protection strategies so calculated they feel almost impossible to comprehend. Diddy's mother didn't show up when things got messy. She showed up before the mess even hit the public. She wasn't reacting. She was preventing, intercepting, negotiating, and erasing. She wasn't caught off guard. She was already positioned at the center of every scandal long before the world realized a scandal existed. And now these clips, these interviews, these trembling confessions, these quietly recorded moments that producers tried to bury are beginning to surface piece by piece, leak by leak, witness by witness. Every new drop makes one thing clearer. The story isn't just about a man spiraling out of control. It's about the infrastructure that allowed him to spiral. And the person who held that infrastructure together with an iron grip was his own mother. So now I want to hear from you, the people watching this unfold in real time, the ones connecting the dots faster than investigators, the ones who always suspected there was more to this than what we saw. Do you think she was the real architect? Do you believe the early police report? Do you think the missing notebook pages were hers? Was she protecting him, or was she protecting a system they both benefited from? Drop your theories below, don't hold back, and hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell so you don't miss the next leak, because insiders say the next drop will expose the one thing we have not seen yet, the tapes. And when those tapes surface, everything changes forever.